Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that one of our admin received. The message reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I just want advice. I do have money, so much money. I so wish to help some people that I have heard on the channel complaining that their lives, they are not enjoying life, but some of the things in this world that we cannot control is like when you have a husband that is a ritualist, there are times when you also want money from him and he can tell you not to use even a single cent that you'll be having in your bank account because he needs to speak with his priest first before he uses the money. Everything has rules, he told me, in this life. And if we do not obey the rules, then we will return back to the land of poverty where most of you are now having your existence. So my world was changed the day that I took a decision to agree to whatever that this Nigerian guy who became my husband was asking of me. And I consider myself to be lucky and unlucky South African wife, and I was married to my Nigerian husband. So I am caught up in a huge dilemma, whether I am lucky or if I am not lucky. So I grew up in KwaMashu, and I used to stay with my mom and my young brother. It was just a small two-room shack. Life was very difficult. Let me tell you about my life. We used to eat pap moro for most of the times, and my mom worked 2 cleaning jobs working for Indians just to keep us fed, the lights on. I tried to study hard, tried to dream of something better, but life is just difficult. It was as if there was a ceiling, a glass ceiling that was placed on top of our township, so much that one could never be able to get out of that zone. Then came Instagram, was introduced to Instagram by one of my best friend. So she was a girl of hookups, never ending hookups. Each and every weekend she'll be at a different boy's place, always targeting foreign guys for the other ones that are quick to pull out cash and give you the money. Not so much for the local boyfriends, she used to say. She introduced me to that lifestyle, and it was a choice between buying some meat so that you can eat with pap, or always pap and cabbage, acha, sometimes in tinned fish. It was really difficult, and I chose to go online to start dating. So I would date some Zim guys that used to be construction workers in that area where I was staying. They would give me money, and I started upgrading myself because I did not want to continue sleeping with these boys that could not even afford 1K after sleeping with him. And then that was when I saw a message. It was a message request that had been sent to me. So the message was like, your smile is magical. Please just share your world with me, and I will also show you my world. It was from a man whose feed was a non-stop parade of beautiful cars, even private jets. He had gone on a vacation. So this man, he was my friend, he used to follow me, and I knew that he was Nigerian. I thought that maybe he was a businessman or a scammer. I admitted that there were times when I would go on his profile. Then later on, he told me that he was into Yahoo scams. This he told me when he was in South Africa. Over the next few weeks, we fell into easy conversation. He would call me direct calls, and when he would calculate the airtime that he would have used, if he would call me for 2 hours, I'll be like, wow, that's another man's salary here in South Africa. He would call me every morning before sunrise, send me lots of beautiful poems. He used to send me digital gifts, as in going to take money from Western Union, voice notes that were so beautiful, like he wanted me to become his queen. And that was when I made a decision to at least try it. I told him about my mother's illness, my brother's school fees, if he would be able to afford all of those things. He told me not to worry. He wanted me to go with my mom to a private doctor. For the first time in my life, I went with my mom to a private doctor. She even asked me where I was getting all of the money. He then asked me to marry him, for that was the only way that he could come to South Africa. And I agreed, my brother. I agreed to sell my country to a Nigerian man that I was in love with. He arrived in Johannesburg, went and I collected him. I was even ashamed. I did not want my friends to know. At that time, like, he had money, but not real money. It was just him hustling. I ran still into his arms, and he was very handsome. And then we went and we started staying in this other apartment in town. In time, that was when he told me that there were things that he had done in Nigeria, and he was still waiting for those items to come so that he can start making money. So I thought that maybe he wanted to open a business when he said that he was waiting for things that will make him money when they are shipped from Nigeria coming to South Africa. When we collected these items, I even laughed and I said, man, are you even serious? What is the meaning of this? Because in my mind, I was like, hey, now we are going to die of hunger with this man, and I am already married to this guy. What am I going to do? What arrived from Nigeria, it was a small carved wooden altar that smells like vinegar, and it had a red cloth as well as small bones. I don't know if they were human or animal bones. That was when he said, this is what is going to give us money. He took me out. After we had drank some, we returned back home, and then that was when he confessed to me, and he said when he was still in his country doing his Yahoo thing, he was once arrested. He came out with nothing. The money that he used to spend on me, that was the last remaining money that he had. And moments before he had been arrested, he hid the money in the village, but he was arrested in the city. So the money was safe. That was all that he was using to spoil me. So I said, what are we going to do? He said, babe, there is no more money. As a man, I know that we do not have money that can last us for more than 2 months. We need to find human hair, and we need to find a madman. Then said, can we use my hair instead of going around looking for human hair? And he was like, no, I cannot let you do that, because the hair of the woman that we are going to use, she is going to run mad for a year and then she will die. I was like, this is very serious. He then sent me to a hair salon where I used to go to, but back in the location where I grew up in, I was like an undercover detective. When you arrive in a place with evil intentions, you think that everyone knows that you want to do something evil. I waited for my turn as we were busy chitty-chatting, having our gossip, and then that was when I saw an opportunity. I saw natural human hair that I picked up. I picked it up and I was so scared and nervous, and I put it in my small handbag. I could not even wait for my friend to do my hair. I said, I'll be back. She was like, but I am almost done. I could not even wait anymore because I was feeling nervous. I was like, what if she watched me as I was picking the hair? What if something happens and then they say, let us see what is in your handbag? I rushed out pretending as if I was on a call. I had already informed my husband that it was done. He came and he picked me up and we returned back to our apartment. He then took the human hair. It is still there in the little altar, for it has a compartment where it looks more like a little fin. That is where we keep the human hair, but it is mixed with the semen. So I did not know anything about the madman. We found a madman, offered him food, lured him to our vehicle, but it was a rental vehicle. For my husband said we had to use a rental vehicle. We picked him up on the N1 and we drove with him back home. This man, we cleaned him up and he stayed with us as if he was a zombie. He could not even fight against us, even though I saw that he wanted out. He wanted to get out of our yard. My husband said, leave him. He will walk around. He kept this man until my next period. And that was when my husband told me the deed that I was supposed to do, to sleep with this man whilst I was on my period. Sleep with another man, Brother Nashi. That was something that I had never thought of. And this was a madman. He said, you have to sleep with him right in front of me in our bedroom where our little altar is. And when he is about to ejaculate, I will come and then I will take his manhood out of you and direct it at the altar, for he is supposed to ejaculate on top of that hair that you took from your friend's saloon. And I was like, this is crazy. And this is really crazy. But I had to do it, for he told me that we had no more money to sustain our lifestyle. So I ended up agreeing, Brother Nashi. I slept with that man on the floor. My husband was kneeling right next to me with his hand on my stomach. He was waiting, watching the movements of that man just when he was about to ejaculate. When he was about to ejaculate, he said, move up, and his manhood came out of me. He grabbed it, another man's manhood, and then he took the altar. I could not even watch him. Played with that madman's manhood until he ejaculated into the little coffin. And then he said, let us take him somewhere far. We took him and we dropped him off. I really do not even know, because I was so stressed and sad about the things that I had done. We returned back home. My brother, money, I guess, cures all stress. We left the car on the driveway, and then so he left me inside the car because I had no strength and I was so stressed. I was thinking about the way that I had slept with a madman in front of my husband. He shouted and he was like, "Oh, we are rich. We are rich, my God." And he kept on screaming. I rushed out of the car. My brother, that was when I saw a big bag, a traveling bag that was open, that was full of money. I had never seen so much money in my entire life. I started screaming as well, and we went indoors. He had not yet told me that this money, it cannot be used to take care of my siblings and to take care of my mother. He only told me a couple of days after I had made a request to buy a house for my mother, but to put it in my brother's name, but he'll be the one that will be staying with my mother and his wife. And he said, "No, it can't be done." And I said, "Why?" He said, "For this money, it belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to our kid, but it does not belong to your mother. The same way that I cannot take care of my poor relatives that I left in Nigeria." I wanted to cry, and he said, "Do not cry, for we are not allowed to cry when we discuss about this money." I am a millionaire's wife, but let me tell you a story, Brother Nash. There was a time when my mother got ill. There was money that was needed. I spoke with a friend of mine who was even shocked. I went to her house, I cleaned her place, and I did all of her laundry so that she can give me money. I just said, things are tight at home. That is what I did in order to get some money to give to my mom. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. She was saying, "I am happy, but I am not happy." Yo,